Fault tolerance is the ability to suffer a catastrophic failure without losing data or functionality. A catastrophic failure to an organization could be losing a hard drive with critical information on it. Or it could be a real catastrophe, like a hurricane or an earthquake or a flood. To maintain fault tolerance, we do regular backups and we use redundant arrays of independent disks, also called RAID. There are 3 levels of RAID with which we should be familiar, especially for the certification exam. RAID level 0 is also called disk striping without parity. And striping refers to writing data across more than one physical drive. Disk striping without parity is intended to increase system performance and volume capacity. So data is written to 2 or more hard drives, and they are treated as a single logical volume. But disk striping without parity offers 0 fault tolerance. In fact, that's a good way to remember that. The disk striping without parity, or RAID level 0, offers 0 fault tolerance. RAID level 1 disk mirroring or disk duplexing does provide fault tolerance. Data is written twice, once to each of 2 drives. So data is mirrored on 2 drives, so that if one drive were to fail, the other drive contains the same information. When we duplex, we also add another adapter card or hard drive controller card, so that if one card were to fail, the other drive can still function. So when we duplex, we provide fault tolerance not only for data, but also for functionality. RAID level 5 is disk striping with parity. This increases performance and volume capacity and provides fault tolerance. With RAID level 5, data is written to 2 or more drives, but parity information is also written to a 3rd or additional drive, so that if one drive fails, the other drives can recreate the data stored on the failed drive. RAID level 5 can have as few as 3 drives and as many as 32, but we can only lose 1 drive and maintain fault tolerance. So let's look at some advantages and disadvantages of each of the RAID levels. Let's look at RAID level 1 first. Advantages of RAID level 1 are that if either drive fails, the data is still safe on the other drive. And disk reads are sped up because the adapter has 2 places to read from. But disadvantages are that having 2 hard drives in the same computer can be more expensive, and because data is written twice, hard drive capacity is in fact cut in half. In other words, we only get about 50% efficiency because we're having to write the data twice. Also, disk writes are slowed down because data has to be written twice. With RAID level 5, the advantages are a more efficient use of hard drives. But disadvantages are that more hard drives are required. Another disadvantage of RAID level 5 is that we cannot put the system or the boot partitions in a RAID 5 configuration. So when we're planning for disaster recovery, we should keep some things in mind. First of all, we should prepare for the disaster before it occurs. We should know how we're going to recover the lost data. We should know when the backup was made and what we need to do to recover information since the last backup. and we should verify that our recovery plan will work by practicing it before a disaster occurs. So in summary, in this chapter, we talked about two important aspects of preventative maintenance: making regular backups and dealing with viruses. Then we talked about routine hardware maintenance, and then also how to design a disaster recovery plan. In our next section, we'll discuss some tips which will be especially important to those of you who are going to take the A+ certification test.